Thank you everybody for coming. I'm going to go ahead and call the open session to order. We have no report from closed session this evening, so we will go ahead and move directly into the Pledge of Allegiance. And thank you, Bennett. Bennett here will be leading us this evening. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, Bennett. All right, can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Ackerman?
Present.
Councilmember Fatula?
Here.
Councilmember Lohman?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Mendoza?
Present.
Mayor Burse?
Present. All right, we will go ahead and move to approval of the agenda order. And just to make one adjustment to the agenda order this evening, item 3D is not ready for the agenda, so it is being dropped. Do I have a recommendation to approve the agenda order with the exception of item 3D this evening?
So moved. Second.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Fatula?
Aye.
Councilmember Ackerman?
Aye.
And Councilmember Lohman?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Mendoza?
Aye.
Mayor Burse?
Aye. All right, moving to item 3, consent calendar. Matters on the consent calendar are routine in nature and will be approved by one blanket motion with a council vote. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar? Oh, I apologize. Go ahead.
I'd like to remove item 3C. Support.
Do any council members have any additional items they'd like to pull? All right. Does any member of the public have any items they would like to pull from the agenda? Okay, could I get a motion to approve the consent calendar with modifications?
So moved. Second.
All right. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Fatula?
Aye.
Councilmember Ackerman?
Aye.
Councilmember Lohman?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Mendoza?
Aye.
And Mayor Burse?
Aye. All right, Joe?
Yeah, on the minutes, there's one typo in there. Page 14. Sean probably would have caught this. It says, this is on the Fire Safe Council. It says Council Member Fatula. It should be Council Member Lohman because it's your meeting. Yeah. So over on the right-hand side.
Okay.
Right. So other than that, I'll make a motion to approve it.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Fatula?
Aye.
Councilmember Ackerman?
Aye.
Councilmember Lohman?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Mendoza?
Aye.
And Mayor Burse?
Aye. All right, moving to item 4, agent reports. We'll start with Placer County Sheriff's Department.
First, we're going to remove Ty out of the room. Hey, good evening, Council. Trinity, it's good to see you all. I haven't been here in a couple of months. Been down in LA for training, so happy to be back. I've just got 2 months left of that training, and then I should be all yours throughout the summer. Over the last 8 months, the Sheriff's Office has been doing their advanced officer training where our deputies are trained in defensive tactics, driving, shooting, de-escalation, new laws, legal updates, and a whole plethora of others that are way too lengthy to go over tonight. But that's rapid. So we're going to see a complete change with our deputies. We are actually going to be taking on Deputy Alberg as our 4th and permanent deputy here in the city. He did a good job during his interview, and I can't wait to bring him on board. He lives here local and will be a great addition to the city of Colfax.
So when are you going to bring him in to meet us?
I will, absolutely. Once he's out of the jail, he's got to do his jail time and get released and credit time served, and then it'll be here for you. The second to that, the Colfax deputies, I know that there's been a few break-ins that have happened, and some of that came up. We have been actively working that. Deputy Gearday, who's a detective for us, has come up with Barker, Jacobs, Tanaromi, and they've been really beating the bushes trying to figure out who it is. They're running into some difficulties. There's some people with surveillance video that's really grainy, businesses that haven't updated their equipment that would help us even that much better. So I'm hoping that those businesses are listening and taking some of the advice that those deputies are giving to them about upgrading their stuff. But we are actively pursuing that. We know there's a lot of names that are getting thrown around. It's starting to become one of those where oh, it was so-and-so, but really so-and-so wasn't even in the area. It was more like this person doesn't like this person. So a lot of finger pointing, but we are actively working that and we'll work it until the end or until we figure out who has done it.
Small town politics.
Small town. It's exactly what it is. Other than that, it's starting to get ready for summer, starting to get hot. Our Swiftwater team has been out on the river. We had some of our deputies out there today training. We were training last week, getting ready for that. And then not only that, today I spent the day with Chief Lovely doing unified command training, and CAL FIRE is doing it different this year a little bit. They're actually getting their engineers and captains involved, which is something new to the area. And it's neat because the true first responders that are out there on the scenes before I get there or before the battalion chief gets there, and they're starting to learn what that next level is. And then the sheriff's office with CAL FIRE next month will be putting on our unified command training for all the sergeants and battalions chiefs. So there's a lot of work going on getting ready for this summer. That's all I have. If there's nothing else.
Any questions?
I have one question, big question that is for the sheriffs.
Okay.
I've had about a dozen people ask me, if you go up on 80 on the right-hand side, just before Alta, there's that area that was kind of like a snow park that they have all the trees they're grinding up.
Right.
And people have been asking me, do we know if those wood chips are available where people can take them for their gardens and stuff?
And I have no idea.
Yeah.
That would probably be a Caltrans question, not a CHP.
Yeah.
Not a CHP question.
Council Member Petula, we have the local field office that's probably administering it here for Caltrans. I'd ask.
Yeah, if you could ask, because that'd be a good thing just to publish for the city if it is.
Okay. I would just make sure caution on the side of the freeway, getting wood chips.
Yeah, it's about 75 feet off the road.
I would still use caution.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people
there's
driving.
crazy drivers.
And the speeds have gone up ridiculously.
Yep.
Right. So anything else?
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Looks like we do not have CHP here this evening, so we will move directly to Placer County Fire Department, CAL FIRE.
Madam Mayor, before Jeff speaks, the clerk asked me to remind everybody, if you're not actively speaking, please turn your mics off. It reduces the likelihood of feedback, please. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, City Council, City Manager, Jeff Loveless, CAL FIRE Battalion Chief in Placer County Fire Department. I wanted to, the last meeting that we had, I talked a little bit about the outlooks on our fuels and what the weather's going to alluding to for this fire season. I do have better news for you with some of the rain that we did have. So in March, it was still well below average rainfall, but this month in April, we're about average. So we're kind of on back on track with some of our fuels. Our 100-hour fuels, those are kind of your inch to 3 inch thick sticks, and how ready they're able to burn. So we're kind of back on average with some of that. CAL FIRE did make the move in regards to burning permits in the SRA. So those are now required, and that started April 18th. So we'll be doing those out and that's bringing it back to the 4x4 piles and having somebody there with the burn permits. In regards to the fuel break, again, there's no major update there. We're going to hold burning for the rest of the year. Might get a little bit more in the fall in regards to Mount Howell and a few things like that. But in the city itself, we're going to stop at 24 acres for this spring. For statistics, NEU or Nevada Yuba Placer in general, kind of just in comparison with number of fires and acres burned. Last year at 2021, we had 73 at this point, 73 fires with a total of 67 acres. This year we're at 91 with a total of 35 acres. So our starts have increased. A lot of it's due to escape control burns, but the acres aren't there. And plus with this rainfall, might buy us a few weeks with some of this moisture. Call volume for Company 36, and I would like to proudly say for those folks in Placer County for volunteer, it is the highest response call in all of Placer County for the volunteers. So last year they're at 104 at this point. Now they're at 117, but it's more of the call and the dispatch and actually responding. So our folks are committed and pushing through with some of those. For some of the training with our Company 36 folks, every year we do annual training before fire season. And it's called RT 130. We have completed all that besides one piece, and it's the pack test. It's some of their physical fitness challenges, hiking with certain amount of weight to conclude some of that. Again, Sergeant Griffiths mentioned some of the command and control we're doing. This is with Cal Fire, but Placer County Fire Department as a whole that serve you and do some of the command and control. And I happen to be part of that training who puts it on. And I was able to put one of the scenarios that we did down at Mineral Bar so half of our staff, which is about 400, so half of them are well acquainted with the road system for Colfax and some of the threats that could persist with a fire down there. So it's all great training, including some of the evacuations and working with our counterparts and different agencies. Some of the equipment for Company 36 purchased through Placer County. There was an outdated AED, which is automatic defibrillator. I think everybody knows what that is. That was significantly outdated. We were able to purchase that and get a new one on the engine, including some chainsaws that are still coming. There's been some upgrades with some of the Station 36 training room, including new flooring, and that's working with Public Works, and we have avenues to acquire some additional electronics to support that training room. One really good positive thing I'd like to mention is one of the things that we're going to do with the elementary school is a firefighter for a day. It's a small little raffle for the students at the elementary school. We'll pick one of those students that will actually be a day at 7:30, and that they'll be from 7:30 to about noon. They'll have breakfast with us. They'll kind of partake on some of our training, our putting some hose, seeing what's on the engine, maybe a little lights and sirens in the parking lot kind of thing. And of course, that'll be accompanied by their parents. But it's a kind of a good, neat community outreach that we happen to have connections with some of the faculty. So other than that, one of the safety messages, again, we're kind of in that burn permit, AQMD or the Air Pollution Management District. Make sure you call those numbers prior to burning, and that is 1-800-998-BURN or 2876. So that's about all I have, and I'll break for questions.
Yeah, how are we doing on UP cleanup along the rail lines?
That is, I believe, and I could actually tie with Chief Roofnot. My understanding is that has been complete for the objective that they were shooting for. Is that confirmed?
That is correct.
The clearing by the UP contractor completed, but I'm in the process of trying to get hold of UP because I have some areas that I'm not happy about. So
Yeah,
that's where we're at.
I've already had people talking to me about areas along the tracks that they cleaned up a certain way and then just stopped.
Yeah.
And they need to go up to their property line.
So we're trying to hold them accountable as best we can, but I don't have a whole lot to tell you other than that.
Okay.
So it is a process, and I contact with their vegetation management person down in Southern California.
Yep. So good first step.
It is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Okay, thank you so much. All right, Chamber of Commerce.
Madam Mayor, City Council members, Chamber of Commerce. And first off, I do want to thank Ty Connors for coming here, and I'd like to introduce him as our new president of the Chamber of Commerce. Ty,
Very funny.
you got to get him in somehow. He's a stable. So just to let you know that last week we had a ribbon cutting at Ambrose, the auto body place. Turnout there, and really, he was very busy. He's kind of having a hard time getting a hold of parts, getting these vehicles repaired and stuff. But boy, he is doing his best. It's a great family effort. And then also we had a mixer at the Key Salon And Brittany up there did a fantastic job. She has so much support from this town. We know that she has been here with other salons, and she's a big part of this town. And so we're really happy to have that. Also, too, a couple handouts that I did give you. Our next mixer is May 26th, and that's at the Applegate Civic Center. So it's kind of fun with the Chamber of Commerce, and it's a chamber of commerce, where we do go down to Applegate, Meadow Vista, up to Cisco Grove, and Iowa Hill, Chicago Park. So it's great getting these other businesses in here for our mixers and having us as a having them as a member. The other thing too, we will be having our coffee and conversation this coming Wednesday, and that's May 4th, 8 o'clock in the morning. And Battalion Chief Jeff Lovelace is going to give a presentation from CAL FIRE. So Jeff, we appreciate that you'll be there. So that'll be something to really look forward to. And then the other thing that we have, we just got them today, but it's our Discovery Colfax, our directory for our members here. And so you'll see these around town. We just got 4 boxes of them. And so a lot of great advertisement, good stuff for the trails, just some really fun and interesting information. So with that, that's it.
Thank you very much, Tim.
Thank you.
All right. Green Machine, did you guys want to make a report this evening, or did you want to just wait till? Okay, perfect. So we don't have any other nonprofits here tonight for reports. We have no presentations, so we will move to item 6A. No discussion on these items ensues unless a specific item for discussion, but no, that. I don't know why the consent item intro is on that part. We're having a public hearing. So this public hearing is to discuss the ordinance 547, amending Colfax Municipal Code Title 6, Chapter 6.20, limitations on number of animals, also known as the chicken ordinance. So we will take a presentation by staff.
I didn't call it the chicken ordinance. I thought it was a poultry ordinance. This was first. Yeah, is that better?
Yes.
Okay. They came back, made some recommended changes to the ordinance. I've listed them in the staff report. I'll go over them very briefly. It's now ordinance 547, not 546, because you adopted another solid waste ordinance in the interim. You've changed section 6.20.020. There was a sentence in there that I think didn't make sense. It said this section is not intended to regulate keeping and raising chickens on agricultural zone parcels. That's been stricken. Section 6.20.020C2 now requires chicken coops to contain slide out manure tray for sanitation purposes to facilitate cleaning. There's several other, but they're kind of really minor changes. Chicken runs don't need to include a roof, but they can. Anyway, the committee, I think, did a very nice job refining this, and I'd kind of defer to them to make any final comments before the public hearing is open.
Yeah, we tried to take all the feedback we got from the public and tried to fold it in to get the best piece of information we can. The whole purpose of this ordinance is to give us leverage so that we have an exemption right now from the state bill that requires you to have another trash can at each place for food waste, to separate food waste. So that'll last about 4 or 5 years. And then at the end of that period, we might be able to get it renewed or we might not. Then there'll be have to have another trash vehicle go around to pick up the food waste stuff. So what we wanted to try to do is proactively get ahead of this. So if you had a family of 4, you generate about 800 pounds of food waste that could be consumed by chickens, in which case it comes out of waste stream. We need to count how many homes might have this. So we have in this ordinance a one-time license fee of $1, just so we can count it, right? And that way, when we go to negotiate our rate with the rate hauler that calls the trash away, we can use that as leverage. You said, look, we just took out, say there's 50 homes that at 700 and some pounds a home out of the waste stream, we'd like to get a reduction in our waste hauling cost. So that's part of what it's for. But mainly it's to protect us against in the future when, if we don't get an exemption, that we may have to end up having to pay for another vehicle. And that's, you figure if you have two vehicles going around, one to pick up green waste and one to pick up trash, a third vehicle is probably going to raise the cost about a third. So, anyhow.
Thank you. So at this time, we will go ahead and open the public hearing and we'll take public testimony. Do we have anyone from the public who would like to speak on the matter? All right, we do have a public comment that came in via email, so I will go ahead and read that. This comment is from Tom Parnham. I'm opposed to this quote unquote chicken ordinance for the following reasons. One, raising chickens in town will attract predators such as coyotes, mountain lions, etc., which will put our pets and children in danger. Two, the chickens cause odor issues. Three, the noise will bother our neighbors. Four, the next time the city is evacuated, I doubt owners of chickens will take their chickens with them. They will most likely open up the chicken coops and let the chickens roam free. When we return, our homes will have mostly chickens all over town, attracting predators. Please consider these objections to the ordinance and vote no on passing the ordinance. Tom Parnham. Do we have any public comment online at this time?
Nothing online.
Okay. Well, that being said, I will go ahead and close the public hearing at this time. And we will bring it back to council for comments and questions. Do we have any discussion at this time? Okay.
If I might add, Mayor, this was brought before the council on December 8th. It's brought back again tonight for introduction and first reading because there were the changes that were recommended by the committee were substantive.
Yeah.
If they had been matters, just kind of, typos or informal corrections, we would not have had to do the first reading again. So we're starting over at this point.
Thank you. Okay. So I do have just a comment. I do empathize quite strongly with Tom Parnham's plea here. And I do agree with him on a fundamental basis. I know I'm outnumbered, but I do agree with his concerns, and I do have a lot of worry about the actual implementation part. I think the ordinance itself, if we're going to do it, it's well written. It's just whether or not we do it. I don't know that it's a good idea from my perspective. So if council has any additional thoughts or comments they'd like to share, otherwise we can go ahead and just bring it back for council action. Anyone have anything?
Yeah, at last count from walking around the town, we have about 500 chickens out there already. So I don't know if this substantially changes other than gives us a way to count what's there.
Thank you. All right, I will ask for council action at this time. The recommendation is to introduce the proposed ordinance by title only and waive first reading of the proposed ordinance. And then we will schedule the second reading for the first meeting of May. Do I have a motion for action?
I move we approve the motion or approve the ordinance by title and waive the first reading.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lemon,
Aye.
Councilmember Petrulla,
Aye.
Councilmember Ackerman,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Mendoza,
Aye.
Mayor Burse.
Nay. All right, moving on to item 7, we are on public comment. Do we have any public comment at this time for items that are not on this evening's agenda? Anything online?
There's nothing online at this time.
Okay. All right, we will go ahead and close public comment and bring it to 8, council and business. So this is item A, committee reports and Colfax informational items from council members, starting with Councilmember Lemon.
Just one item. Tomorrow night is the Placer Sierra Fire Safe Council meeting at 6 o'clock here at the City Hall. If anybody's interested.
Thank you. Councilmember Fatula?
Yeah, Trinity and I have been working on revising some of the city ordinance stuff, and that's in progress. So that'll be coming up probably at the next meeting or meeting after that. So.
Councilmember Ackerman,
Nothing to report this time.
Mayor Pro Tem Mendoza.
Nothing to report at this time.
Okay, well, here I am with my bulky report. Okay, so as far as my reports, I'll start with SACOG. We had a board retreat towards the beginning of this month, which was actually a really great experience, and it gave us a lot of opportunity to network with other jurisdictions in our region. There was quite a bit of networking that occurred. We talked about everything from mobility, and, the future with the state pushing these different electrification requirements on us as a whole, and what we're going to be doing about homelessness in the future, things like that. There was some comments that were made by a presenter that I felt were really inspiring, and I wanted to bring them back to council. And it was just about remembering who our customer is. The former mayor of Fresno, she came and she talked about how for so long they worked treating the businesses as they were the primary customer of the business, which is your city council, or your city is an incorporated business. Your council is your board of directors, your stakeholders. Who are your customers? And it's not just your businesses, it's your citizens. And if they're not seeing the benefits of the thriving businesses, then you're not doing your full job. And I thought that was a really great perspective to bring to the table, because our job goes beyond making sure that we're getting tax revenue and making sure that the day-to-day business goes on. We want this to be a good place to live where people are happy with where they live. And, we don't have high turnover because it's an unpleasant place to be. So that was just something I thought was really great. And on the subject of SACOG as well, I want to thank SACOG for offering us the service of a federal advocate. I had been talking to the executive director about the issues we were having with gaining the CBDG funding that we were approved for back in 2019. And, here's this $3.5 million that we're planning to go to roads. And here we are almost 3 years later. Where's our money? So we've got some traction on that. And Wes has done some incredible work also to, get some people pretty fired up and say, hey, where's our money? So hopefully I'll have more updates at the next council meeting on that. Going to the county's air quality board, we, during the last meeting, introduced a bill that we co-authored that would support biomass activity and also support EV diversity, so that we're not talking about forcing the state of California to go all plug-in EV. So more to come on that. I will bring back at the next meeting as well. On the note with air quality, I am attending Cap to Cap this next week. I leave on Friday of this week. And so of the items that we're going to be talking about, I'm on 2 teams, the air quality and then a sub team for wildfire. And we're going to be talking about what the federal government needs to be doing to support wildfire suppression efforts and prevention, on top of making sure that we're again talking about EV diversity and what the federal government's choosing to allow to happen with the future of transportation, because rural districts are really not being represented in these conversations, and plug-in electric vehicles are not a sustainable solution for our communities. And we need to talk about the full scope of what we have in our pocket, what tools we have. And if you really want to push these goals, we need to do it in a smart way that's not going to totally corner one community over another and pit us against each other and feel underrepresented. So I feel like I'm really looking forward to see what we can accomplish with that. PCTPA, we met this morning, and unfortunately we had to push off the tax measure that we've been trying to push for the last 4 years plus, that would have been applied to South Placer County. There would have been a pretty good chunk of change from county funds that would have been transferred up to Colfax out of that deal. And unfortunately, the polling is just showing that once COVID hit, the support for the tax measure tanked. We went from having a pretty good, strong support system to not enough public acceptance to be worth actually putting it on the ballot. So we're going to be looking to 2024 at this point. And then for the homeless ad hoc committee, you guys know that we recently brought up our disappointment in that process, how it went, the issues we dealt with the consultant, and how we basically came out with a report that many of us felt didn't actually say anything substantive that we were going to do about homelessness. So me and Wes had a meeting with the county, and thankfully they listened to our concerns. We didn't mince words. So we were able to organize a meeting with just the elected officials in the room to have a really hard conversation about where we're going to go from here. And I feel like we took a really positive direction with it. We are going to be scheduling weekly meetings with monthly in-person meetings so that we can just hammer this out and come to a real solution. And the consultant, if any consultant is involved, they're going to take more of a backseat approach, recording the conversation and acting as more of a referee rather than trying to guide us into a specific solution that they've predetermined prior to us coming into it. So that's going to be coupled with tours with law enforcement. That was one of the things that I had requested was let's send some of these people on ride-alongs and see what you guys are dealing with. And then there's also going to be involvement with social workers, and then actually touring some of these encampment communities that other jurisdictions have put together, because I feel like it's super important that people witness the realities of what they're talking about before they say that something is a good idea. So that's kind of the direction that that's going. And I think that wraps up my lengthy report. Thank you for listening. Wes?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm pleased to be able to share with the council and the public that the Colfax Hotel, the new owners, has submitted a substantially complete design review documents, and we are moving forward with the review process. He gave us the documents, didn't actually give us the application, but we can still kind of move forward. We have the deposit necessary, so our efforts and actions on it has moving the project forward. So I think that's a positive thing.
Fantastic.
The next item is I'm your representative on Pioneer Energy. They reached out to Colfax. They want to look at siting a biomass facility at the closed landfill. So we're working on the concept of how that may look and going forward. I think there's funding that's supporting behind this from Pioneer Energy. They had some legislation passed that released some funding for them. I'm trying to work with Cal Recycle because this is one of their targets for SB 1383 is the biomass, to see if I can't couple that with some funding to do a partial or if not a full clean closure at the landfill, which means we would take the garbage out, take it to a class 3 landfill, rebury it, and then we would be out of the garbage business.
And that financial thing is gone from the books.
It would be gone from the book. So I'm trying to couple the project for the biomass, which would be great for this region, because it's another way of sustaining power through PSPS in the region. Because right now, Trinity could probably speak better to it. Our power grid comes from other areas, and if some of those areas are impacted, they can't power our substation. So if we have an opportunity to keep that substation powered potentially, we could be able to benefit from that as well too. The entire community and surrounding areas.
When this item does end up actually coming up for council discussion and action, I'll be recusing myself because there is no possible way for me to not end up working on the project on PG&E's side, just because of my position within the company. So when we do get to that point, I'll be stepping aside.
For tonight, that's all I have. Madam Mayor, thank you.
All right. We will move to item 9, council business. And this is to discuss considering approving the Green Machine request for $10,000 to fund the 3rd of July fireworks and $1,000 for general event costs for the total amount of $11,000. Wes, do you mind if I go ahead and do the introductory for this? So this began out of the conversation that we started when the Green Machine came forward and essentially said, we do not have the support, the funding, or the tools we need to be able to continue hosting this event. And it really brought forward a reality check that as a jurisdiction, we really have not, and we've been hearing the cries, not just from the Green Machine, but from the Chamber of Commerce and from other nonprofits for quite a long time, that they feel under-supported. They don't have the funding to do the events they need. They need more consistency and they need more stability. And we have heard those cries for a long time, but failed to take any substantive action to provide a safety net to make sure that these events are capable of happening at the scale that we have come to expect, appreciate, and love. And I just want to apologize to all of our nonprofits and especially to the Green Machine, because you guys were very blunt with us and we didn't listen for a long time, and you kind of had to smack us in the head a little bit. So my proposal is that going forward, we as a city should fund the fireworks regardless of which nonprofit runs the event 2 times a year, once for Independence Day and once for the winter holidays, which would come to an approximate total cost of $15,000. That's a discussion that will need to be had in detail during our budgeting review. But for tonight, for the purpose of making sure that there is any possibility of us having a 3rd of July this year, my request to council is that we approve to move forward with funding the initial $10,000 that requires for 3rd of July fireworks. And we work in partnership with the Green Machine as the nonprofit who has given their time, effort, and just endless blood, sweat, and tears for this long to put this event on. It's really important to mention too, though, that I do believe that the fireworks should be, again, independent of any general event cost donations that we've already committed to. I feel like the fireworks going forward should be a city responsibility. It's just, we will work with whatever nonprofit happens to be putting on an event to make sure it goes off smoothly and that we're not recreating the wheel. So at this time, I would love to hear any feedback from council, and I would like to bring the Green Machine up to please say some words as well. And can I get the whole Green Machine board? You guys are all here for this purpose. You guys all put in the work. I don't want it to just be Andrea up here as always. Come on,
Andrea?
all you guys up here.
Yes,
Andrea, there's a.
I pushed it.
Thank you.
All right, so before I start, I'll introduce my board members that are here. I'm Andrea, I'm the president. This is April, our treasurer. This is Isaac, he's our youth open gym representative, and Ty Connors is our vice president. We would be honored to take back the 3rd of July if this was supported by council. Fireworks this year, in order to have the same exact show as last year, are $11,000. When I talked to the fireworks company, and fireworks are hard to come by right now. So from $8,600 to $11,000 is a huge, significant amount. We'll also have to do some more fundraising because it's going to cost over $20,000 to put the event on, with getting bands, the beer trailers, the bounce houses, and fencing, and everything else that goes along with it, advertising. So we will have to still do some fundraising, but if we get that chunk, that'll take care of at least the fireworks. And the other part is easier for us to get. So if that is something that you guys agree on, we would love to host again.
Thank you.
It's a no-brainer for me.
Sounds like a good idea.
I think that you guys have done spectacular for all of these years. So I am in total support, because I've had a lot of constituents calling me, what are we going to do? There's going to be no fireworks. And that's been over, I want to say maybe a month. So, yeah.
And I just want to also mention, in the past, I know that you guys have really struggled with the funding on the fireworks, and it's something that the town has really come to expect and enjoy. And even if the rest of the event didn't happen, those fireworks are a big deal. And, I know in the past you guys have tried everything you can. You've cut down shells, you've cut down the time of the show, you've even tried drones before. And none of those things, the drones were a total flop. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be mean. It's just, it just wasn't the same. And most jurisdictions, they put in for these kind of things so that you can have consistency and, again, keep your tax revenues up. So I just want to apologize again that this is the first time we're having this conversation, because we should have had it a long time ago. the first time you guys had to cancel fireworks and do drones because of money concerns, we should have had this conversation. So thank you for even considering the proposal.
Madam Mayor, for point of clarification, Andrea, are you talking about the total amount you're looking for is 11,000? Because you said earlier that the fireworks are 11,000. So from your email that we included in here, you said the fireworks are 10,000. So are you asking for 12,000 now in total, or is the 11,000 what you're looking for?
We're just looking for the 11,000. We'll fundraise for the rest. We didn't know how much, like, if they were going to cut the show if we just did 10,000. So we don't want to cut the show smaller than what it was. So we as a board agreed that whatever comes from you guys will go straight to the fireworks, and we'll fundraise for the rest of it.
Fantastic. Thank you. Sorry, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment on this item? Come on up, Kim.
And then they could be used for other events. They could be leased out to other cities. So it's something to think.
Maybe it's something we should follow up with on a sidebar conversation and see if it comes to anything.
Since my 3 minutes isn't quite up yet, I mean,
Oh.
I want to make one other. I've been trying to get a blimp here for Colfax for a decade now. And Placer County only allowed one blimp. Every time they had Shiloh's, and Shiloh's is now leaving. So subject, but we never give us the option of grabbing a blimp. So another thing.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
What are we gonna do with the blimp?
Technically, that's off subject, so we'll have to. We allowed the loose correlation. All right, well, I will bring this back to council for action.
We have one comment now.
Oh, I apologize.
Amy Wheeler on Facebook states, please fund the Green Machine Colfax wants fireworks.
Thank you. Do we have any others?
That's the only one at this time.
Thank you. All right, back to council for action.
Move to approve item 9A.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Ackerman? Mayor Pro Tem Mendoza?
Aye.
And Councilmember Fatula?
Aye.
Councilmember Lerman?
Aye.
Mayor Burris?
Aye. All right. Moving on to item 10, go to the order. Sean?
Just want to say it's great that the Green Machine took back the 3rd of July event. Thank you very much, Andrea, and the rest of the Green Machine crew. You guys are awesome.
I know you guys at home, you can't see the S to C that's happening in the back of the room right now. People are very happy.
So that's it.
Joe, do you have anything?
Yeah, could you mention again what we talked about last time about for the people to have generators at home that are plugging in with the cheater cords, what they can get?
Yes, so there are several rebate programs through PG&E right now where you can, because we're in a high fire threat area, you can actually get rebates for your generators, as well as there is a special, I'm trying to think of the layman way of explaining, there is a socket that can be placed on your meter that will make it so you can plug straight into your meter and be able to run your generator off of your house. So if that's something that anybody would be interested in the information on, if you reach out to myself or staff or one of the other council members, we'd be more than happy to get you that information so that you can pursue that.
Yeah, this takes you out of dangerously connecting a generator to your house and relying on manually turning off a breaker to, they just put a ring next to your meter that you don't make any changes, no wiring changes. You plug in, you're done.
Mhm.
And it automatically switches.
Yep.
Right?
It's like an automatic transfer switch, but a lot easier.
And I think the cost is zero.
That is correct. David?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you again to the Green Machine. It's pretty awesome. And I appreciate what you guys do for the community.
Well, I just want to say thank you to the Green Machine because you guys are the movers and shakers of this community. But I also forgot something that I reported, so can I use my time for that?
Absolutely.
So I had a meeting with Mike West, and he is the owner of JS West Propane Company. And he sent his apologies for not being here the day that we had the propane companies coming in, but he didn't get that memo. We are now connected directly to him. So where's the wood? I have Pat here now. Where's the wood? If we have another emergency, Wes, the team, the fire will have a direct line to the owner of the company. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. So I have two items for good of the order this evening. One, I have Wes, he's going to be circulating a letter to council that I'm hoping you guys will be willing to support. It is supporting a bill that is being driven forward by LaMafa, or I apologize. Yes, LaMafa and want to help me out here? I'm drawing a blank.
I'm not going to be able to help you. I don't remember either.
It's our other local congressman. And McClintock, thank you. I had a meeting with McClintock's office about this, and it's essentially a bill that would allow us to go onto federal land and suppress fires where we are currently not allowed to. So I'm hoping that council will be supportive of that bill, and Wes will circulate the information. My other item for this evening is I would like council to consider supporting the formation of a youth council. And this would essentially be a council formed between both the elementary school and the high school. And we would run it in collaboration with their current student body and student council programs, where students would have the ability to apply to our council to sit on this board. And this would be, we would take items of any relation to the youth or to Parks and Recreation, or anything to where we feel it would be appropriate to send it to them for advisement. They would take these items, discuss them, and have the opportunity to provide advisement to our council. And it really, the purpose of this would be to increase civic engagement. This started with an idea that Paul Lundberg had proposed to me during one of our meetings, because he had hoped that we could have an honorary member of council from the youth, which I had to notify him there's really no good way for us to do that. But for us to have a youth advisory board, that is a potential option. So what I'd like to see is council support us discussing the formation of such a council of students within our community or youth within our community, and what would need to happen. Actually, I shouldn't get into details because we need to have a discussion. So council, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so I just want to add a little bit of what I know. So back in 2017, I joined up with Mike Coons, Chaplain Mike Coons, over at the elementary school, and Doug LaMaffa's office, David Morgan. And what we do is give them awards. And so it's called the Hard Work Cafe. So I would say tap into that group because it's the 7th and 8th graders. And then the high school, obviously, they have their student council. I lost track of what else I was going to say in reference to that. But I think that that's a wonderful idea, and I'm in full support.
So if I have at least a couple more council members willing to entertain the discussion.
I would like to entertain discussion.
Thank you. All right, so we will bring that forward on a future council meeting.
One more item, sorry. It came back to me.
Go ahead.
Came back to me. We give these students quarterly certificates, and that is something that the mayor does. That has not taken place because of COVID.
Yes, it has.
Oh, it did?
Yes, it
When
has.
did it take place?
Yeah, Sean Lohman did some
Oh,
last year.
good. Okay,
and
that's
then
right,
I've
because you
done
guys
some
are
this
having
year.
student stuff now,
Yeah.
so that's still going?
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Does anybody have any closing items they want to add? All right.
Madam Mayor, if I may, I want to give props to Shanna and Marguerite for your audio system, the installation area we got going on here tonight. I wanted to wait till the end to make sure it went flawless before I gave props. But they did an amazing job to get this in here
Yes,
today.
thank you, guys.
We're going to continue to make improvements as we move along, but this is a great addition.
Thank you so much. All right, so in closing, I have one more item, and it is our staff. We have a very humble staff around here who don't tend to talk about the things that they do. Instead, they tend to thank council for things that they did. I want to bring some attention to some work that our staff has been putting in since well before 2016, and pretty much since Wes came on with our city. Since Wes came on with the city of Colfax, outside of our regular grants, our regular budgets, our regular revenue streams, Wes has gone above and beyond with the help of our staff, with the help of Lori and Shanna and everybody else that he works with, to bring an additional almost $20 million into the city of Colfax. Now, when you're talking about an operating budget of $2 million a year, an extra $20 million is nothing to scoff at. And I just want to take a moment to be very clear that this $20 million, this is not the doing of your council. You know, we sit here and we get a lot of opportunity to talk about these things, participate in them, give advice, give advisement, maybe participate in the process or help when we need to kind of push people around a little bit to get our money. But at the end of the day, this is the work of our staff. This is the work of Wes Heathcock and his staff. And I just want to say thank you. And with that, we will adjourn.